In the depths of the ocean, shrouded in mystery and time, lies a city, a civilization that has puzzled mankind for centuries. Atlantis, a name that echoes through the ages, stirring intrigue and sparking endless debates. But what if everything you've been told is just the tip of the iceberg? Today, we dive beneath the surface into the enigma that is Atlantis. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew. Have you ever heard of a magical underwater city with a supernatural touch, a technologically advanced society, and lots of golden treasure? Well, these are all qualities that describe the lost city of Atlantis, or so we've been told. For centuries, the existence of Atlantis has been contested by a long list of historians and scientists. Did this mysterious city really exist, or is it just another myth? So many people have taken part in this debate, and several researches have been made regarding the discovery of this magical underwater city. In light of all this research, there might be more about the lost city that you're just not aware of. And in this video, we'll be debunking the mystery surrounding Atlantis and talking about everything we know concerning this city. Plato's theory. If the Greeks are known for anything, it's their rich history and interesting mythology. Greek mythology has been the basis of many stories, and the story of Atlantis is one of them. The mysterious island of Atlantis was first mentioned between the 5th and 4th century BC in a dialogue written by a Greek philosopher called Plato. He described Atlantis as a vast island located in the Atlantic Ocean, ruled by powerful kings and princes, and swarmed with a massive collection of wealth and riches. A brilliant Greek philosopher from Athens, Plato was the Albert Einstein of his time. He came up with several theories, some of which are valid to date. He taught Aristotle and is credited with establishing the first Western university in the world. This brilliant philosopher mentioned Atlantis for the first time in his books, the Timaeus and Critias. These books had 4 major characters: the philosophers Timaeus of Locri, and Socrates, and the politicians Hermocrates and Critias. 3 out of 4 characters in these books were popular Greek men whose existences were backed up by historical records. However, the existence of Timaeus is questionable. In the books, Timaeus was portrayed as a philosopher of the Pythagorean school and a wealthy aristocrat from the Greek colony of Locri Epizephri. Because of the poor preservation of historical records over the years, it is uncertain whether this Timaeus of Locri ever existed, or if he was just a character in Plato's book. However, if Timaeus of Locri had ever existed, he would have lived in the 5th century BC, along with the other characters written about in Plato's books. The book Timaeus begins with an introduction, followed by an extensive account of the creation and structure of the universe, and eventually it introduces the existence of Atlantis. The philosopher Timaeus, in a monologue, recounts a conversation between ancient Egyptian priests and Solon, an Athenian lawgiver, and one of the wise men of Greece. The priests described Atlantis as an island larger than Asia Minor and Libya combined and situated just beyond the Pillars of Hercules, also known as the Strait of Gibraltar. Further describing this island, the priest said, "Now in this island of Atlantis there existed a confederation of kings of great and marvelous power, which held sway over all the island and over many other islands also, and parts of the continent." While Timaeus introduced the existence of Atlantis, the book Critias talked about this mysterious sunken island in great detail. To get his information, it is said that Plato consulted a rich bank of knowledge, including a secret association open to only the elites of his time. During this time, that is, around 360 BC, knowledge about past civilizations and the life's work of past aristocrats were highly classified and made available only to members of a secret association. This was to prevent the circulation of information and ensure that only a select few were the smartest people in society. Of course, Plato was a part of this association, and so he had access to records written by each of the 4 characters in his books. He also got his facts from records in the Library of Alexandria, which, according to Edgar Cayce, was built by the Atlanteans in 10,300 BC. Using all the information in these records, Plato was able to describe Atlantis and inform the world about the beauty of this mystical island as well as its peculiar people and ancient civilization. The mystical island. The book Critias talked about the nature of Atlantis, its history, culture, people, and downfall. The story begins with the Greek gods who in the beginning decided to split all the lands of the earth among themselves, and the vast island of Atlantis was allotted to Poseidon, the god of the sea. The island was rich in vegetation and mineral resources, and according to ancient Egyptians, Atlantis was described as an island consisting mostly of mountains in the northern portions and along the shore of the ocean. Given all its beautiful qualities, Poseidon was pleased with Atlantis and settled on the island in no time. According to Plato's tale, Poseidon fell in love with Cleito, the daughter of Evenor and Leucippe, who were mortal inhabitants of this island. From his relationship with Cleito, Poseidon became father to 5 pairs of male twins, and the eldest of these 12, Atlas, was made the king of the entire island and surrounding ocean. The 9 other twins were given smaller territories to rule, but Poseidon himself built a befitting capital for his floating utopia. The capital of Atlas. After allocating lands to his sons, Poseidon built a massive landmark in the middle of a city as an expression of his love for Cleito. Cleito lived in one of the mountains of Atlantis, and Poseidon carved this mountain into a massive palace. This palace was surrounded by 3 layers of circular moats. The further each moat was from the palace, the larger its width, and in between these moats were lands of proportional sizes. After the construction of the palace, the Atlanteans built bridges northward from the mountain, connecting it with the rest of the island. Alongside these bridges, they also dug a great canal to allow the passage of ships into the city. The city of Atlantis was also properly guarded, as gates and towers were built around each entrance, and each ring of the city was surrounded by a wall. The city itself was also filled with resources such as gold, silver, brass, tin, and a precious metal called orichalcum, all of which were quarried from the moats built by Poseidon. Given all its resources, the city of Atlantis was a beautiful and flourishing city indeed. According to Plato, the people of Atlantis were also very good. In his book, Critias, he wrote about the Atlanteans. For many generations, as long as the divine nature lasted in them, they were obedient to the laws, and well affectioned towards the god, whose seed they were. They despised everything but virtue, caring little for their present-day state of life, and thinking lightly of the possession of gold and other property, which seemed only a burden to them. Neither were they intoxicated by luxury, nor did wealth deprive them of their self-control. In Plato's tale of Atlantis, the city and its inhabitants were portrayed as the perfect and ideal society. And from the qualities we've talked about so far, we can understand why. However, along the line, the city lost its perfection. The people of Atlantis strayed from the ways dictated to them by Poseidon and the other gods and allowed themselves to be consumed by greed and lust for power. This led to their downfall and the destruction of the entire city. The downfall of Atlantis. According to the politician Critias, the destruction of Atlantis took place 9,000 years before his existence. It all started because the Atlanteans wanted more wealth and power than they already had. As a result of their lust for power, they used the advantages of their advanced civilization to wage war on other populations who weren't as developed. The people of the Mediterranean got the brunt of the waywardness of the Atlanteans, and they were enslaved, killed, and conquered by their superior neighbor. The Atlanteans continued their conquest and conquered the parts of Libya within the Pillars of Hercules as far as Egypt, and even Europe as far as Tyrrhenia, which is in present-day Italy. The success of all their invasions made the Atlanteans overestimate themselves and their battle strength so much that they believed they could defeat the city of Athens. Alas, they were wrong. The people of Athens not only resisted the Atlanteans, but they also defeated them and sent them back to their island. When they returned to their island, the Atlanteans were faced with the wrath of the gods, as they had fallen out of favor with the Greek deities. In a single day, the city was destroyed by an earthquake and flood, and the city, which was once upon a time a beacon of culture and civilization, sank beneath the waves. In Plato's book, this was written about the event. The island of Atlantis in like manner disappeared in the depths of the sea, for which reason the sea in those parts is impassable and impenetrable, because there is a shoal of mud in the way, and this was caused by the subsidence of the island. The legendary island vanished and was buried under the muddy sea, along with all its inhabitants. It was indeed a sorry end. The significance of Atlantis. Over the years, the significance of the story of Atlantis has been greatly debated. Is it just another ancient cautionary tale aimed at teaching everyone the importance of living in an ideal society? Or is it a real story that happened over 9,000 years BC? Or both? Were stories passed down from several generations? However, his account of this story is the first and the only publication that talks about the subject. Apparently, Plato learned about the story of Atlantis from Critias, who learned it from his grandfather, who learned it from Solon, the Greek statesman, who learned it from Egyptian priests, who must have learned it by some divine revelation. However, regardless of the source of the story, it is believed that Plato's intentions for writing about Atlantis were to boost his ideas of an ideal society and remind society that there are consequences for violence, especially since the Trojan War or Athens' invasion of Sicily occurred around that time. Given that he was something of an idealist, historians think that Plato used stories of ancient victory and calamity to call to order the people of his time. However, this doesn't confirm or deny the existence of Atlantis, since even Plato didn't know whether Atlantis was a mythical or historical island. The search for Atlantis. For a city that supposedly existed over 12,000 years ago, Atlantis still sparks a lot of interest today. So many people are determined to prove whether the utopia existed or not, but so far, no search effort has been successful. However, people continue to speculate on the location of the island. One theory suggests that Atlantis was probably located in Santorini, an island in Greece. This speculation is based on the fact that Santorini was first destroyed around 1600 BC by a massive volcanic eruption. Additionally, the historic island of Crete, not very far from Santorini, was home to the Minoan civilization. The Minoans existed around the same time Plato recorded for the Atlanteans. And just like them, the Minoans were known historically for their technology, which was ahead of their time. Another theory suggests that Atlantis was located in the Americas, perhaps in South America or Mexico. This theory is based on the fact that ancient civilizations, such as the Maya and Inca, have advanced societies in these regions and existed around the same period as Plato's Atlantis. Additionally, some ancient records from these civilizations talk about the occurrence of a great, disastrous flood, just like it happened in Atlantis. At the end of the day, these theories are just theories until there's substantial proof of the existence of Atlantis. To this day, the lost city of Atlantis remains a mystery, and although attempts to demystify this island have been going on for centuries, there has been no hard proof of even a trace of the existence of Atlantis. However, as the search for Atlantis continues, we should probably pay more attention to and put more effort towards building an ideal society like Plato preached, instead of searching for a city that vanished without a trace. Do you agree? Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.